For over a decade, the gates of Neverland Ranch stood closed. But one sealed door remained the most perplexing mystery of all. It was a place that only a few knew about, and no one dared to enter until 2024. The world had long speculated about what lay behind it. Was it just a forgotten room filled with dust and memorabilia? Or was there something far more shocking, something that could reveal the hidden side of a global icon? When the door to Michael Jackson's long-forgotten garage finally opened, the world held its breath. Inside wasn't what anyone expected. What they found would redefine everything we thought we knew about the King of Pop. That famous jacket, there it is. Rolls-Royces frozen in time. Personal notebooks that reveal secrets we've never heard before. This wasn't just a storage space, it was Michael Jackson's personal sanctuary. A place where his dreams, his memories, and his most intimate treasures were locked away. But why was it sealed for so long? What did Michael Jackson keep hidden, and why? Get ready to dive into the untold story of the Forgotten Garage, because what was inside will shock you. After Michael Jackson's death in 2009, Neverland Ranch, once a vibrant wonderland of carnival, rides, music, and laughter, slowly decayed into a forgotten relic. The sprawling estate, which once dazzled with lights, music, and the laughter of children, fell silent. The menagerie of exotic animals that had captivated visitors for years was relocated or passed away. The once beautiful gardens grew wild, now tangled in weeds and neglect. The carnival rides that had once spun endlessly beneath the California sun stood rusting. Abandoned in this once thriving kingdom, a sense of death lingered in the air, and the magic seemed to slip away. Yet, amidst this fading grandeur, one place remained untouched, a solitary structure concealed from the world and hidden from prying eyes. Behind the grand mansion, almost tucked away as an afterthought, stood a reinforced structure, a fortress, not just in its physical build but in the secrets it held within. The garage behind the mansion had no airy windows or welcoming light. It was an ominous, dark space with only a narrow slit of light creeping through a rusted, chained door. For over a decade, this door stood as a silent boundary between the public and the private world of Michael Jackson, a boundary that few had dared to challenge. While Jackson's estate was sold off, items from his personal life were auctioned, and his family members sifted through the belongings. The garage remained off limits. Rumors swirled among those close to Michael. Some said the garage housed his most treasured possessions, gifts from his children, rare custom vehicles, and even art, reflecting his secret passions. Others whispered darker theories and released music, personal journals, or even evidence tied to the scandals that plagued his life. But all anyone could do was guess. Despite the growing curiosity, no one dared to breach the sanctity of the garage. That was, until 2024. The Jackson estate, undergoing a renewed legal audit due to shifting ownership and financial concerns, issued an order to open everything. The garage, which had been sealed for so long, would finally be unlocked. What was inside? Would it be dusty memorabilia or something far more profound? The answer came when that rusted door was finally pried open, and the world held its breath. The garage wasn't just a collection of discarded objects. It was a time capsule, a museum that had remained locked for years. A physical reflection of Michael Jackson's private world, preserved in silence. What was found inside would leave the world speechless. A collection of meticulously preserved luxury vehicles, untouched for over a decade. Rows upon rows of pristine cars, each a testament to Michael's perfectionism and his desire to escape the chaos of his public life. Every car seemed frozen in time, tires still inflated, chrome gleaming faintly in the dim light, windshields unscathed by dust or debris. It was as if time itself had been paused. The moment Michael last set foot inside this space, preserved forever. Among the vehicles, classic models, rare customs, and personal favorites of Michael's were parked in perfect alignment. Each one reflected a different chapter of Michael Jackson's life, from his early days of superstardom to his retreat into more private, guarded years. But it wasn't just the cars that made the garage so compelling. It was the very essence of Michael Jackson that echoed through every corner of that space, a man who lived not only in the public eye but who, his core, craved solitude, control, and the preservation of his own identity. The garage was not just a storage space, it was a sanctuary, his private escape from a world that never allowed him peace. In 2024, when the garage's secrets were finally uncovered, the world realized they hadn't just opened a door, they'd unlocked a deeper understanding of the man behind the music. Michael Jackson wasn't just a legend, he was a man who built a world for himself. Shielded from the relentless spotlight that sought to define him, Michael Jackson wasn't just a superstar, he was a global icon whose life played out under the relentless glare of the spotlight. Yet behind the dazzling performances and music videos, there was a side to Michael that the world rarely saw. He was a man who fiercely guarded his privacy, living under constant scrutiny while crafting a carefully curated life far removed from public view. The garage at Neverland Ranch, is a testament to this hidden side of Michael. It was not simply a place to store cars, it was a sanctuary. A place where Michael could escape from the chaos, where he could find solace in the things he treasured most. For a man constantly surrounded by noise and demands, this private space was his retreat, a personal world that was his to control. Those who knew Michael describe him as a perfectionist, someone who sought refuge in the small details and routines. That brought him peace. He wasn't just meticulous about his music and performances. This precision extended to his personal life as well. The cars, the items inside the garage, even the way everything was preserved, each piece was chosen and protected with the same care and attention that defined his artistry. The garage was more than just a storage area, it was an extension of Michael's need to preserve his identity, shielded from the world's gaze. Inside this space, he could simply be Michael without the king of pop persona, without the millions of fans watching his every move. The treasure trove inside wasn't just luxury or memorabilia. It was a reflection of a man who craved peace, control, and the ability to carve out a world for himself, untouched by external forces. The long sealed door of the garage symbolizes more than just a boundary between public and private. It represents the walls Michael built to protect his sanctuary. Safe space where he could maintain his sense of self amidst the chaos of fame. For him, it wasn't about hiding. It was about protecting his inner world, preserving the elements that grounded him, and keeping them away from the relentless spotlight. In that garage, everything had a purpose. Every object, every vehicle, and every item told a story of a man who, despite being at the pinnacle of global fame, sought refuge in the quiet, careful curation of his life. The day to open the garage arrived like a storm on the horizon. Technicians, locksmiths, estate representatives, and security personnel gathered in the early hours, their breath visible in the chilly morning air. Cameras and drones hovered, ready to capture every moment of this highly anticipated reveal. The world had waited long enough to uncover what Michael Jackson had kept locked away for over a decade. Now, the question was simple: would they be able to access it? The rusted, weather-beaten door loomed before them, its heavy bolts and complex mechanism remaining steadfast in their silence. Despite years of neglect, the door had proven remarkably resistant to time. The faint glow of a keypad flickered, but the circuits had long since fried, perhaps from age or some kind of failsafe designed to keep this hidden world safe from prying eyes. Attempts to bypass the security system failed repeatedly. The team of experts, specialists in everything from high-tech security to vaults used in government facilities, found themselves stumped by the door's complex design. The heavy bolts, forged from a custom alloy rumored to be a blend of steel and titanium, resisted every attempt to break through. No tool could break through. No method could bypass the mechanism. It was as if the door had been designed not just to keep things safe, but to remain a mystery forever. As the team grew more frustrated, they realized that they were facing more than just a barrier. It was a symbol of Michael Jackson's need for control, for privacy, and for the preservation of his world. It wasn't just a garage, it was a fortress designed to keep the outside world from ever accessing the treasures, secrets, and stories locked away inside. After hours of grinding and sparks flying, there was finally a breakthrough. The sound of metal tearing, the screech of strained hinges, and the unmistakable groan of a heavy door surrendering to the force of those determined to get inside. As the door creaked open for the first time in over a decade, the anticipation built to an almost unbearable level. What would they find behind the door? Would it be a forgotten world of dust and decay, or something far more profound? In that moment, when the door finally gave way, the world knew whatever lay inside was going to change everything. It's going to change everything. As the team stepped into the cavernous garage, the silence that enveloped the space felt almost oppressive. It was as if the room had been holding its breath for years, waiting for this moment. The air was thick with the smell of aged leather, oil, and the faint scent of dust. For a decade, this place had been sealed away, untouched by time, and now, as the overhead lights flickered to life, it was as if the garage itself was awakening from a long slumber. The first thing that caught their eyes was a stunning 1985 Rolls-Royce Corniche. The turquoise paint gleamed faintly under the cold LED lights, its once pristine surface now covered in a delicate layer of dust, but still unmistakably radiant. It was as though the car had been parked just yesterday, yet it had remained untouched by time. For over a decade, the white leather interior was immaculate, and the upholstery remained taut and flawless, telling a story of care and preservation that went far beyond mere luxury. This car wasn't just any luxury vehicle. It was Michael Jackson's very first Rolls-Royce, purchased during the height of his Thriller era, at the zenith of his global dominance. For Michael, this car wasn't just about status, it was a symbol. It was a marker of a new chapter in his life, a shift from the chaotic whirlwind of superstardom to a more controlled, quiet world of personal luxury. Every detail of the Corniche seemed to reflect Michael's obsession with perfection and his desire to control the narrative of his life. Moving deeper into the garage, the team found a 1954 Cadillac Fleetwood, a car once owned by U.S. presidents and Hollywood elite. Its imposing frame and timeless design gave it an air of quiet authority, a vehicle that demanded respect without saying a word. This Cadillac wasn't just a car, it was a statement. For Michael, it was the perfect physical embodiment of his evolving Lagostia, blend of dignity and class that matched his own quest for refinement and status. Behind the Cadillac stood another Rolls-Royce, the Silver Cloud. It was a rare, exquisite piece of engineering, with only around 500 made. Its presence here, among Michael's collection, spoke to his obsessive taste for perfection and exclusivity. The smooth, opulent lines of the Silver Cloud mirrored Michael's own obsession with detail and craftsmanship. It was the kind of car that embodied his meticulous approach to everything he did, from his music to his image. But it wasn't just the vehicles that struck the team. There, on one of the walls, a faint golden sign, barely visible through the dust read, "Drive your dreams." This wasn't just a garage, it was a sanctuary. A personal space where Michael could retreat from the pressures of fame and connect with his passions. The words were a glimpse into his world, a place where his dreams were more than just abstract concepts. Here, they had tangible form. As the team continued to explore, each vehicle they uncovered told a different chapter of Michael Jackson's life. The cars weren't just modes of transportation, they were symbols of his journey, his changing identity, and his desire to escape from the world that had both made and broken him. Each one reflected a different phase of his career: the flashy, high-profile years of the 1980s, the more introspective and private periods of his later years, and the quiet retreat he sought in the garage. One by one, the team unearthed more treasures: classic luxury cars, bizarre custom vehicles, and personal items that spoke to Michael's need for both control and refuge. They were silent sentinels, frozen in time, chrome and leather memoirs that captured a life lived in constant contradiction, a man who wanted to be seen, but who equally sought to remain hidden. For Michael, this garage wasn't just a collection of objects, it was a world. It was a place where his desires, dreams, and ambitions were carefully preserved, away from the noise and chaos that surrounded him every day. The garage was his refuge, his secret place where he could be Michael, not the king of pop. And now, the world was finally seeing it for the first time. The cars in Michael Jackson's garage weren't just vehicles, they were symbols, each one representing a different chapter in his life. As the team explored the garage, they quickly realized that these cars weren't just about luxury or status, they were physical manifestations of Michael's shifting identity over the years. One of the most striking pieces in the collection was a pristine 1985 Mercedes-Benz 500 SEL. Nearly untouched by time, the sleek silhouette and elegant design made it clear that this wasn't just any luxury sedan. The 500 SEL was renowned for its whisper-quiet ride and factory-installed bulletproof windows. It was a car designed for protection, a fortress on wheels, which spoke to Michael's growing need for security as his life became more tumultuous. During the height of his legal battles and the intense media scrutiny, this car served as his private cocoon, a sanctuary in which he could remain protected from the outside world. Nearby, a silver spur to limousine gleamed faintly under the garages. Dim lights. This wasn't a flashy car designed to attract attention, it was a masterclass in understated luxury. The limo's interior boasted a retractable moonroof, inviting the outside world in when desired, while the fiber-optic star ceiling bathed the cabin in a serene, celestial glow. It was the perfect metaphor for Michael's public image during his philanthropic years, humble, yet still cloaked in wealth and exclusivity. This wasn't a vehicle for ostentatious displays. It was a ride designed for quiet generosity, a reflection of his desire to contribute to the world without the glare of fame overshadowing the act. But perhaps the most intriguing vehicle of all was the matte black Phantom 6, a car that stood apart from the rest of the collection. With no rear windows, this custom-built Rolls-Royce was designed not to be seen, but to see. The rear cabin was equipped with high-definition internal screens, turning the vehicle into a mobile sanctuary for private meetings and secluded experiences. This car spoke to a later chapter in Michael's life, a time when his relationship with fame had become strained, and he sought retreat from the public eye. It wasn't just about privacy, it was about control, a way to craft a world where he could exist without the constant pressure of being watched. Each of these cars told a different story of a man who was constantly evolving. From the young, carefree artist to the introspective, guarded individual who sought solace behind tinted windows and high-tech barriers. These vehicles weren't just machines, they were the silent sentinels of Michael Jackson's shifting identity. Captured in chrome and leather, a reflection of a man who, at his core, struggled with the tension between fame and the desire for control over his own life. Amidst the gleaming luxury cars, something entirely unexpected caught the team's eye: a 1993 Ford Econoline E1 150 van. At first glance, it seemed completely out of place. Its beige, unmarked exterior was plain, almost mundane. There were no chrome trims, no polished logos, nothing to suggest it belonged in a garage full of Rolls-Royces and Cadillacs. It looked like a utilitarian vehicle, one that would be more at home on a construction site than in a sanctuary of wealth. But as they slid open the van's door, it quickly became clear that this wasn't any ordinary van. Inside, the walls were lined with deep blue velvet, absorbing light and sound, creating a quiet, almost luxurious atmosphere. The seats were custom leather, designed for long journeys, and each one featured its own TV monitor, allowing passengers to enjoy privacy during their travels. But the true surprise lay in the center, a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The console was neatly installed, with game cartridges neatly organized in labeled compartments. This van wasn't just a vehicle, it was Michael Jackson's mobile sanctuary, a private retreat on wheels. It was a place where he could escape the outside world, immerse himself in his creativity, and even find comfort in nostalgia. As the team continued their exploration of the garage, something unexpected caught their attention: a stack of black crates tucked away in the corner. At first glance, they seemed unremarkable, covered in dust and age, but each crate bore a familiar emblem, the gold stylized MJJ Productions logo, a relic from Michael Jackson's own creative empire. These crates were not meant for public eyes, and their contents would soon reveal something far more profound than forgotten possessions. With careful hands, the archivists opened the crates to reveal a treasure trove of documents and technology. The first items they uncovered were blueprints, intricately detailed plans for concert stages and arena setups. These weren't ordinary stage designs. They were the stuff of a visionary's dream. The plan spanned multiple pages, showcasing multi-tiered platforms, mechanized elevators, and immersive light shows that would have enveloped entire stadiums in illusions of grandeur. These were the designs for a tour that never happened, a vision of what Michael Jackson had planned for the future. One of the most intriguing pieces found was boldly titled History to the Resurrection Tour. The designs indicated stages that incorporated revolutionary elements, interactive audience experiences, holographic visuals, and cutting-edge technology that would have pushed the boundaries of live performances. Handwritten notes in the margins hinted at ideas that were far ahead of their time. Michael had always been known for his ability to innovate, and these blueprints showcased the depth of his ambition. But it wasn't just about the stage designs. There were also sketches for projects that never materialized, concepts for music videos, ideas for future tours, and even plans for a children's book that Michael had been working on but never completed. These were glimpses into the mind of a man who never stopped creating, who had endless ideas but whose personal struggles often kept him from realizing them. The garage, it seemed, wasn't just a place for storage, it was a vault of Michael Jackson's unfulfilled ambitions. These blueprints and secrets provided a window into a future that never came to be but remained a testament to his genius, obsession, and the unyielding drive to push creative boundaries. As the team continued their exploration of the garage, something unexpected caught their attention: a stack of black crates tucked away in the corner. At first glance, they seemed unremarkable, covered in dust and age. But each crate bore a familiar emblem, the gold stylized MJJ Productions logo, a relic from Michael Jackson's own creative empire. These crates were not meant for public eyes, and their contents would soon reveal something far more profound than forgotten possessions. With careful hands, the archivists opened the crates to reveal a treasure trove of documents and technology. The first items they uncovered were blueprints, intricately detailed plans for concert stages and arena setups. These weren't ordinary stage designs. They were the stuff of a visionary's dream. The plans spanned multiple pages, showcasing multi-tiered platforms, mechanized elevators, and immersive light shows that would have enveloped entire stadiums in illusions of grandeur. These were the designs for a tour that never happened, the vision Michael had for the future, one that could have reshaped live performances as we know them. One of the most intriguing pieces found was boldly titled History to the Resurrection Tours. The designs indicated stages that incorporated revolutionary elements, interactive audience experiences, holographic visuals, and cutting-edge technology that would have pushed the boundaries of live performances. Handwritten notes in the margins hinted at ideas far ahead of their time. Michael had always been known for his ability to innovate, and these blueprints showcased his relentless drive to create something that would leave the world in awe. But it wasn't just about the stage designs. There were also sketches for music, videos that never came to life, concepts for future tours, and even plans for a children's book that Michael had started but never completed. These personal projects revealed a different side to the King of Pop, a man who had dreams that went beyond music and fame, one who wanted to leave a lasting legacy through creativity and imagination. The garage wasn't just a storage space, it was a vault of Michael Jackson's unfulfilled ambitions. The blueprints and secrets unlocked a window into a future that never materialized but remained a testament to his genius, obsession, and his unyielding drive to push creative boundaries. Even after all these years, his vision for what could have been still resonated in the pages of these documents. When the news broke that Michael Jackson's hidden garage had been opened, the world's reaction was swift and intense. The discovery didn't cause a global frenzy in the way one might expect from a shocking revelation about a celebrity. Instead, it was met with a quiet, almost reverent acknowledgement. The garage wasn't just a storage space for luxury cars, it was a carefully preserved time capsule, an intimate glimpse into Michael Jackson's private world. Collectors, curators, and historians quickly took notice, understanding the significance of what had been uncovered. These weren't just items of wealth or celebrity memorabilia, they were pieces of Michael Jackson's legacy, a personal archive that had been locked away from the public eye for over a decade. The vehicles, the blueprints, the personal items, they all spoke to the kind of artist Michael was, the lengths he went to in order to preserve his own vision and creative space. Auction houses discreetly reached out to the Jackson estate, hoping to acquire pieces of the collection for exhibitions or private sales. There was interest in showcasing Michael's rare cars, his designs, and his personal artifacts to a public eager to understand the man behind the legend. But the Jackson estate made it clear that these items would not be sold. Instead, the garage would be sealed once again, not as a commodity, but as a monument to Michael Jackson's complex humanity. The decision to keep the garage sealed was met with respect. There was no rush to turn these treasures into a business transaction. The Jackson family, with the backing of the estate, decided that these items were not to be exploited. Instead, the garage became a sacred space, an intimate collection of the King of Pop's private world. Detailed inventories were made, each item cataloged and preserved for future generations to better understand Michael as not just a superstar, but as a human being with dreams, struggles, and a vision for his future that never came to fruition. In the end, the world's reaction wasn't one of sensationalism or wild rumors, it was an acknowledgement of the depth and complexity of the man who had forever changed the world of music and culture. Michael Jackson wasn't just a pop icon, he was a man who dreamed, created, and fought to preserve his private world, even when the world itself seemed to want more from him than he could give. The garage, now sealed, once again, holds more than just cars and memorabilia. It's a testament to Michael Jackson's hidden world and intimate, private space where his dreams, ambitions, and struggles were carefully preserved. The treasures inside weren't just items of luxury or celebrity status, they were reflections of the man who, despite living under constant scrutiny, craved solitude, control, and the preservation of his own identity. The discovery of the garage revealed a side of Michael that the world had never fully seen. It wasn't just about the King of Pop's legacy, it was about the man behind the music. The visionary who dreamed of creating worlds, both on stage and off. His secrets, locked away for so long, have now been uncovered, but they leave us with more questions than answers. What could have been if Michael's unfulfilled ambitions had come to life? As we reflect on what was discovered, we are reminded that even the most public figures often have private worlds that are just as complex and meaningful. Michael Jackson's garage wasn't just a storage space, it was his sanctuary. If you're fascinated by this hidden side of Michael Jackson, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories. See you in the next video.